Journeying through the strangest places on Earth. What if I told you there are places on our planet that just don't make sense? Places where nature seems to have forgotten its own rules, where history whispers secrets on the wind, and where the line between science and myth gets impossibly blurry. Our world is full of these anomalies. Landscapes so alien they feel like another planet, and man-made structures so strange, their purpose is still a secret. These aren't just dots on a map. They're enigmas that challenge everything we think we know about geology, history, and maybe even reality itself. We're about to set off on a global adventure, hunting for bizarre natural wonders and forgotten places with dark secrets. We'll travel from the scorching heart of remote deserts to the frozen abyss of Antarctica, from haunted islands to forests that seem to be twisted in pain. This is a journey that will challenge what you thought was possible on our own planet. We'll peel back the layers of legend and look at the science, but in many of these places, the more we learn, the deeper the mystery gets. So, get your curiosity ready. Our trip to Earth's strangest places begins now. Our journey starts from an island so isolated and strange, it's been called the most alien-looking place on Earth. Welcome to Socotra, an archipelago in the Indian Ocean belonging to Yemen. Cut off from mainland Africa millions of years ago, Socotra has evolved on its own terms, creating a biological wonderland where the normal rules of nature don't always apply. Over a third of its plant life is found absolutely nowhere else on the planet, making it a living laboratory of evolution. The undisputed star of the show here is the dragon's blood tree. These incredible trees look like something out of a sci-fi movie, with dense, umbrella-shaped tops that create an otherworldly silhouette. That weird shape is actually a brilliant evolutionary trick to capture moisture from the morning mist and provide shade for its own roots, saving every drop of water in the harsh climate. But the tree's most famous feature is right in its name. When you cut the bark, it oozes a thick crimson-red resin that looks just like blood. For centuries, this dragon's blood was a precious commodity. The local Socotra people have used it for generations as a cure-all medicine, a dye, and even as lipstick. Ancient Greeks and Romans traded for this mystical resin, believing it had powerful healing properties for everything from wounds to fevers. It was even used in ritual magic and alchemy, thought to be the literal blood of dragons. Today, these living fossils are in trouble. The dragon's blood trees are now vulnerable to extinction, facing threats from a changing, drier climate and from livestock overgrazing, which stops new saplings from growing. These ancient beings, some of which can live for over 600 years, are slowly disappearing. Standing in this alien forest, surrounded by trees that bleed, you have to wonder, how many other unique places like this are on the brink? And what secrets will we lose with them? Our journey now leads us to northern Tanzania, to a lake that is both beautiful and terrifyingly deadly, Lake Natron. This shallow lake, lying in the East African Rift Valley, is one of the most alkaline on Earth. The water is full of sodium carbonate from nearby volcanic hot springs. With no river to drain it, intense evaporation concentrates these minerals, pushing the water's pH to 10.5, almost as caustic as ammonia. It's so corrosive it can burn the skin and eyes of most animals that touch it. This deadly chemistry has created one of the lake's most haunting legends, that it turns animals to stone. The phenomenon was famously captured by photographer Nick Brandt, whose photos showed the calcified bodies of birds and bats washed ashore. These animals weren't turned to stone while they were alive. After dying and falling into the lake, their bodies are preserved by the sodium carbonate, the same chemical the ancient Egyptians used for mummification. The result is an eerie collection of perfectly preserved, stone-like statues. And yet, in this place that seems designed to kill, life finds a way. The same minerals that make the water deadly also feed salt-loving algae, which paint the lake in surreal shades of red and pink. This algae is the main food source for millions of flamingos. In fact, Lake Natron is the single most important breeding ground for the lesser flamingo in the world, with up to 75% of the entire species hatching here. The flamingos have adapted to survive. Their tough, scaly legs prevent burns, and special glands let them excrete excess salt. The deadly water acts as a perfect shield, protecting their nests from predators who can't handle the caustic environment. Lake Natron is a place of shocking contradictions. A lake that kills and mummifies, but also acts as the cradle of life for millions. It forces us to rethink the very limits of survival. From the ice of Antarctica, we journey to the quiet woods of western Poland, near the town of Grafino. Here you'll find a small, strange grove of pine trees known as the Crooked Forest. Planted around 1930, this patch of about 400 trees seems to ignore the laws of botany. Each tree, just above the ground, takes a sharp 90-degree turn, grows sideways for a few feet, and then curves back up toward the sky, forming a perfect J shape. And even weirder, they all bend in the same direction, north. What makes it so baffling is that these bent trees are surrounded by a much larger forest of perfectly normal straight pines. This wasn't some widespread natural event. The bark on the curves is smooth, not scarred, which probably rules out damage from disease or pests. For decades, the cause was a total mystery, leading to all sorts of theories. Some of the more out-there ideas suggested a weird gravitational anomaly in the area, a strange pull that forced the saplings to grow sideways. But that doesn't hold up. Gravity pulls down, not in a smooth curve, and it would have affected all the other trees too. Another theory blames heavy snow, suggesting it repeatedly buried the young trees and pinned them down. But again, that doesn't really explain the incredible uniformity or why the trees right next to them were totally fine. The most likely answer seems to be a human one. The leading theory is that the trees were intentionally bent by local farmers back when they were young. They were probably trying to grow naturally curved wood, which was great for building things like furniture, boat hulls, or wooden cartwheels. By forcing the trees to grow this way, they could get strong, pre-shaped timber. The outbreak of World War II likely interrupted their work, and the town was largely abandoned, leaving the forest to grow into the strange sight we see today. But with no living witnesses and no records, it's all just a theory. The secrets of the Crooked Forest seem to have died with its creators. Standing there among those silent, twisted trees, you can't help but feel a little uneasy. Venturing into the dry heart of Australia's Northern Territory, we come to a place of incredible geological wonder and deep spiritual meaning, Karlu Karlu, also known as the Devil's Marbles. Here, scattered across a wide, sun-baked valley, are hundreds of giant granite boulders, many of them balanced in ways that seem to defy gravity. These massive red-orange spheres range from small stones to huge orbs over 6 meters across, creating a surreal and ancient landscape. Geologically, their story started about 1.7 billion years ago, when molten rock cooled into granite deep underground. Over millions of years, that granite was pushed up and exposed. The extreme desert temperatures, scorching days followed by cold nights, caused the rock to expand and contract, creating deep cracks. Water got into these cracks and weathered the rock, slowly eroding the outer layers and sculpting the blocks into the round, marble-like shapes we see today. The crazy balancing acts are just the result of this slow, patient erosion. But to the traditional Aboriginal custodians of this land, the Warramungu, Kaitetie, Alyaware, and Warlpiri people, Karlu Karlu isn't just a pile of rocks, it's a sacred living place. The name Karlu Karlu literally means round boulders. According to one of the stories shared with the public, an ancestral being known as Arrange, the Devil Man, was traveling through this area making a traditional hairstring belt. As he was twirling the hair, he dropped clusters of it on the ground, which turned into the giant red boulders. On his way back home, he spat on the ground, and his spit formed even more of them. Arrange is said to still reside in the nearby hills, watching over the land. It's important to point out that a popular but wrong story claims the marbles are the eggs of the rainbow serpent. Aboriginal elders have made it clear this is not part of their tradition. Karlu Karlu is a powerful reminder that what science explains with geology, ancient cultures can see as the proof of their creation stories. Our journey now takes us to the dry coastal plain of southern Peru, to a mystery you can only truly appreciate from the sky. Etched into the desert floor are the Nazca lines, a massive collection of geoglyphs that are one of archaeology's greatest puzzles. Created by the ancient Nazca culture between 500 BC and 500 AD, these designs are staggering. They range from simple geometric shapes, huge trapezoids, spirals, and ruler straight lines that run for miles, to enormous drawings of animals, like a hummingbird, a spider, and a monkey, some stretching over 1,000 feet long. How they were made isn't really the mystery. The Nazca people just removed the reddish-brown pebbles from the desert surface to expose the lighter-colored sand underneath. The extremely dry, windless climate has kept these shallow drawings perfectly preserved for 2,000 years. The real mystery of the Nazca lines is, why create these gigantic figures that are so big you can only recognize them from high up in the air? That question has baffled scientists for decades. Early theories suggested they were a giant astronomical calendar, aligned with the stars to track the seasons for farming. Others thought they might be pathways for religious processions. Of course, more imaginative theories popped up, with some claiming the lines were landing strips for ancient astronauts, an idea that got popular in the 60s but has zero archaeological evidence. More recent research, however, points to a much more down-to-earth explanation. Many archaeologists now believe the lines were all about water, the most precious resource in this desert. The geoglyphs may have been part of huge rituals, meant to be seen by the gods in the sky as a plea for rain. Many of the animal figures, like spiders and hummingbirds, are symbols of water and fertility in Andean cultures. Today, with AI and drones, researchers are still finding new figures, but we can never truly know the minds of the people who made them. Flying over this ancient canvas, you have to wonder, what powerful belief drove a civilization to carve messages for their gods on a scale so grand it could only be seen from the heavens? We now venture into a part of the ocean that exists more in our imagination than on any official map. It's a vaguely defined stretch of the North Atlantic, with its three corners usually pinned at Bermuda, Miami, and Puerto Rico. This is the Bermuda Triangle, a place that's become a synonym for unexplained disappearances. For over a century, it has captured the public's imagination as a place where ships and planes simply vanish. The legend was cemented in the mid-20th century, thanks to articles and books that hyped up a string of incidents. The most famous is the disappearance of Flight 19 in 1945. 5 U.S. Navy bombers vanished during a routine training mission, and a rescue plane sent to find them also disappeared. Authors listed dozens, even hundreds, of vessels and planes said to have been lost under mysterious circumstances in the Triangle. Theories range from the scientific to the fantastic. Paranormal explanations suggest everything from portals to other dimensions and alien abductions to strange energy fields from the seafloor, or even the lost city of Atlantis and its malfunctioning crystal tech. However, science offers far more boring but powerful explanations. First, the Bermuda Triangle is one of the most heavily trafficked areas of ocean in the world. Statistically, more traffic means more accidents. Second, the region is known for its extreme and sudden weather. It's in a major hurricane path, and the Gulf Stream can create violent, unpredictable seas, including rogue waves big enough to swamp large ships. Also, many of the incidents blamed on the triangle have been wildly exaggerated or are just plain wrong. Investigations show that many vanished ships and planes sank for perfectly understandable reasons, were lost far outside the triangle, or were just fictional stories to begin with. The U.S. Coast Guard doesn't recognize the Bermuda Triangle as a specific area of hazard. And yet, the legend lives on. The idea of a mysterious vortex that swallows ships and planes is just too compelling, tapping into our deep-seated fear of the vast unknown ocean. Our journey now takes us to one of the most remote inhabited islands on Earth, a tiny dot in the southeastern Pacific. This is Rapa Nui, better known as Easter Island. It's world famous for one thing, the Moai. Nearly 1,000 monumental statues carved by the early Rapa Nui people between 1250 and 1500 AD stand like silent sentinels all over the island. These colossal figures, with their long faces and mysterious expressions, are a testament to the incredible skill of a lost civilization. The statues were carved from volcanic rock at a single quarry, then transported miles across the island and set up on stone platforms. The sheer scale of this is what created the mystery. The average Moai is about 13 feet tall and weighs 14 tons. How did a small, isolated society with no wheels, no draft animals, and no metal tools manage to carve, move, and stand up these giants? For decades, the main theory was that they rolled them on logs. This idea was often linked to the island's supposed ecological collapse, suggesting they cut down all their trees for the project, which led to their downfall. However, recent studies have given powerful new life to a different idea, one that matches the island's own oral history, which has always said the statues walked to their platforms. In fact, new research published in 2025 has provided the strongest evidence yet for this walking theory. Archaeologists made 3D models of the statues and found that the ones found along the ancient roads have a wide, D-shaped base and a forward lean, making them unstable but perfect for a rocking motion. To prove it, researchers built a 4.35-ton replica. With just ropes and a team of 18 people, they were able to make the statue walk by rocking it from side to side. They moved it 100 meters in only 40 minutes, using no logs at all. The mystery of the Moai is a powerful lesson in not underestimating the genius of ancient people. It seems the Rapa Nui were not just master carvers, but brilliant engineers. But they poured all their energy into this colossal project remains a question we may never fully answer. No journey into the world's strangest places would be complete without a stop at the last surviving wonder of the ancient world, the Great Pyramid of Giza. Built over 4,500 years ago as a tomb for the pharaoh Khufu, it's a structure so massive and precise that it still baffles engineers today. For nearly 4,000 years, it was the tallest man-made structure on Earth. The numbers alone are mind-boggling. It's made of an estimated 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing anywhere from 2.5 to 15 tons. Its four sides are almost perfectly aligned to north, south, east, and west, with an accuracy modern architects would struggle to match. The central mystery has always been, how? How did a civilization without modern machinery move and lift millions of tons of stone with such incredible precision? The conventional theory involves tens of thousands of workers dragging the stones up huge earthen ramps. But there's no real archaeological evidence for these ramps, and the physics of building a ramp that high presents its own huge problems. This has opened the door to all sorts of other theories. Some are wild, suggesting aliens with anti-gravity tech. More plausible ideas suggest the Egyptians used clever engineering, like a system of internal ramps that spiraled up inside the pyramid as it was built, or even a system of water-filled locks to float the blocks upwards. Recent discoveries, like an ancient papyrus known as the Diary of Merer, that details the logistics of boating limestone to Giza, have given us amazing new insights. We now know that skilled laborers, not slaves, built the pyramids. And new cosmic ray scans have revealed hidden voids and corridors inside, proving we still don't fully understand it. The Great Pyramid isn't just a tomb, it's a monument to human potential. A structure so advanced for its time that it forces us to rethink what the ancient world was capable of. We now travel south to the ancient canals of Xochimilco, near Mexico City, to a place that is pure nightmare fuel. Hidden in this network of waterways is a small island known as La Isla de las Muñecas, the Island of the Dolls. Hanging from every tree and nailed to every building are thousands of old, decaying, and mutilated dolls. Their vacant eyes, missing limbs, and dirt-caked faces create an atmosphere of pure horror. The island's grim story is tied to one man, Don Julian Santana Barrera. He was a recluse who left his family in the 1950s to live alone on this island. According to legend, shortly after he arrived, he found the body of a young girl who had drowned in the canal. Haunted by this, he then found a doll floating nearby, which he believed belonged to her. To honor her spirit, he hung the doll from a tree. But one doll wasn't enough. Don Julian became convinced he was being haunted by the girl's spirit. For the next 50 years, he collected dolls to appease her, pulling them from the trash and fishing them out of the canals. He hung them everywhere, creating a macabre shrine that grew more grotesque every year. He hung them as he found them, headless, limbless, covered in grime, believing they were vessels for spirits. The story is a bit murky, though. Many people, including Don Julian's own family, don't believe the story of the drowned girl ever happened, suggesting he may have imagined it. But whether the girl was real or not, his obsession certainly was. The final chilling chapter came in 2001. Don Julian was found dead, drowned in the exact same canal where he claimed to have found the little girl 50 years earlier. After his death, the island became a dark tourist attraction. Visitors now bring their own dolls to add to the collection, continuing his strange legacy. Is this just a tragic story of one man's grief, or did he truly open a doorway to something else that still lingers in the trees? Our journey has taken us all across the globe, from the strange eye of the Sahara to the haunted halls of the Island of the Dolls. We've walked through forests of bleeding trees, stood at the edge of a man-made hell, and flown over messages carved for ancient gods. We've seen how nature can create landscapes that defy logic, and how human belief and grief can build mysteries that last for thousands of years. Each of these places, in its own way, holds up a mirror to our own curiosity. They remind us that, for all our science and exploration, our planet is still full of secrets. There are still things we can't fully explain and histories we can't fully uncover. These strange and wonderful locations challenge us to keep asking questions, to keep exploring, and to never lose our sense of wonder about the world. What do you think about these places? Are they the work of nature, human hands, or something else? Let us know in the comments. And if there are any strange places you think we should check out next, be sure to tell us. Until next time, keep exploring.